this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious
very good evening to you here. Whoa, gonna turn that music down a bit. How's it going, everybody? It's Sunday night. Last Sunday of November. We're gonna be into Christmas mode next week, when it finally gets into December, and we're nearly gonna be done with this disastrous year, 2020. One that's not going to be fondly remembered. But you're very welcome to tonight's edition of the Big Nerd Pub Quiz, coming to you live from the Harbourside Studios here in sunny Warm Point. It was a lovely day today. A lot of people out today walking, socially distanced, of course, taking their strolls around the promenade. But yes, tonight you're very welcome. We're going to be doing, same as we always do, 8 rounds, 6 questions each. This is Big Nerd Pub Quiz. This is how you take part. This is how you play it. So yes, Google form is in the description below. To access it, all you have to do is go down there and open it up. Play as a team or individually. Open the Google link, pop in your email address, answer the multiple choice questions as they come up. 8 rounds, like I said, 6 questions each. Once you're finished, simply hit submit. You'll get your scores at the end, but do stick about to see how well you've done. And where you went right and where you went wrong. It's recommended that you stream the quiz on a laptop or TV and play using the Google form on your phone or other device. Very good luck and have some fun tonight. Don't forget, Harbourside Radio is on HarboursideRadio.com if you want to check out some fantastic new shows. Yes, we've got full lineup, more and more people joining every week. We've got everything from country music, house music, we've got electronica, we've got indie, 80s, you name it, we got it here. Blues, musicals, rock, all on HarboursideRadio.com. Check out our fantastic website. And that's not all. You have a chance to win this fantastic iPhone 12. It's part of a big draw that we're doing here at the radio station. Go to HarboursideCompetitions.com for more information on how to get your hands on a brand new iPhone 12. Absolutely amazing prize. Would be great to snap one up. The draw is actually tomorrow night, so get your entries in ASAP. And there's tons of other prizes as well on Harbourside Competitions. We're giving away a fantastic guitar, as well as £500 cash. If you just go to our website, if you just go to our social media and like the posts there, and you'll be automatically entered in after you tag 3 of your mates. It's that simple. Seriously, check it out. All on HarboursideCompetitions.com. Don't forget, give my socials a follow there. on Big Nerd Pub Quiz on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And smash that like and subscribe button below on the YouTube channel. Quiz is on, like I said, every Sunday, but you can play all the specialty quizzes that we've been doing throughout the year. Star Wars, Disney, Harry Potter. We've done sports quizzes, themed quizzes, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, you name it, we've done it. If you have any ideas, do let me know. Get in touch. And you can hire the Big Nerd Pub Quiz as part of your Christmas celebrations. I know loads of company's gone into lockdown, but if you want to have a socially distanced event, then do check out our fantastic offerings that I have there. Yes, getting booked up already. About 3 or 4 different companies have already snapped me up. So yes, do get in touch if you want to hire the Big Nerd Pub Quiz for your own personal events. Well, yes, that's it. So yeah, we're getting into near Christmas time, and it is getting a lot colder right there. But yes, we hope you're all enjoying yourselves. Here in Northern Ireland, we've gone into another stage of lockdown for the next 2 weeks. So yes, Big Nerd Pub Quiz is going to be here every Sunday. So I hope you're all warm, hope you're all well, hope you're all wrapped up and ready to go, because here is tonight's Big Nerd Pub Quiz. And as always, we always start off with a bit of the old general knowledge for round 1. Yes, well, I should rename this round actually just like, current affairs, because that's how I get these questions. So yes, round 1, all about current affairs and stuff that's happening in the news. So here we go, round 1, question 1 of the 29th of the 11th, 2020's Big Nerd Pub Quiz. Here we go, let's kick off. So here we go, first question, and it's big spoiler alert here, if you haven't seen it yet. But for those who have, I know a lot of Star Wars fans out there. So in Star Wars The Mandalorian, it's revealed that Baby Yoda has a name. What is it? If you haven't, I've been watching this for the last couple of weeks, season 2. There hasn't been a dud episode yet. This is the best Star Wars thing to come out since Return of the Jedi, or Rogue One, hands down. But the famous Baby Yoda has a name. It's been revealed. But what is the name? Alright, so massive spoiler alert. If you want to skip that one, if you haven't seen it yet, by all means, cross it off. Put your fingers in your ears when I read out the answer later on. Round 1, question 1. In The Mandalorian, it's revealed that Baby Yoda has a name. What is it? Round 1, question 2. Sticking with Star Wars there, but David Prowse, the man behind the mask of Darth Vader, passed away today. But what safety campaign made him a national figure in the UK in the 1970s? That's round 1, question 2. Got my photograph taken with David Prowse at a convention a couple of years ago. Huge guy. Absolutely massive, but absolute gentleman as well. There's myself and him there. But David Prowse, like I said, the man behind Darth Vader. And stereotyped muscle man of many movies of the 70s. Passed away today. But what safety campaign made him a national figure in the UK during the 1970s? That's round 1, question 2. Round 1, question 3, and another legend left us this week for all the football fans out there. I know it's been a tough one, but which Italian team did Argentina football legend Diego Maradona sign for in 1985? Should be footballer, not football. Change that. Yes, but which Italian football side did Argentina footballer Diego Maradona sign for in 1985? Might have got the year wrong when I was throwing this together, but it was definitely in the 80s. Diego's, like I can tell you, in this city, I was there a couple of years ago, and in this city there's murals of him everywhere. Every shop you go into, there's pictures of him on the wall, there's shrines to him, even the shirts, they sell them with his name on them. And I'm telling you, huge loss to football. Round 1, question 3. Which Italian football team did Argentina footballer and legend Diego Maradona sign for in the mid-1980s? Round 1, question number 4. Which UK soap opera is celebrating its 60th anniversary this month? So yes, round 1, question 4. Super old one. But which UK soap opera is celebrating its 60th anniversary this month? I think it's next month actually, for December. But anyway, sticking with TV, round 1, question number 5. So who won the Great British Bake Off 2020? Have you guys been following it? I know my parents have, and they absolutely love. I know my mum, every time she watches it, she always runs out to the shop to get sweets, even though she shouldn't be eating them. Round 1, question 5. Who won Bake Off this year? 2020. It's round 1, question 5. Firing on, round 1, question 6. So, during the week, China's Chang'e 5 space mission will be the first sample return from which celestial body? The first since the 1970s. Okay, I think that's an important fact to put in there too. Round 1, question 6. China's Chang'e 5 space mission will be the first sample return from which celestial body? That's round 1, question 6. And there is your roundup there of general knowledge questions for this evening. So round 1, question 1. In Star Wars The Mandalorian, it's revealed that Baby Yoda has a name. What is it? 2. David Prowse, the man behind the mask of Darth Vader, passed away, but which safety campaign made him a national figure during the 70s? 3. Which Italian football team did Diego Maradona play for in the 1980s? 4. Which UK soap opera is celebrating its 60th anniversary this month? 5. Who won Bake Off this year? And 6. The Chang'e space mission will be the first sample return from which celestial body? Okay, 1 down, 7 to go here on Big Nerd Pub Quiz on Harbourside Radio. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with me, give me a shout out, or you want to shout out at any point, get in touch via all the different social media channels there in the corner on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and smash that like and subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Anyway, moving on this evening, moving on to round number 2. And it's all about, it's a music round and it's a DJ name. This is a cheeky little plug for my own radio show that I do every Tuesday or Wednesday night on Harbourside Radio. It's called Sampled, in which every week I take a new DJ and I go back through their catalogue and pick out the samples that they use throughout their recordings. So round 2 is all about actual DJ names. I'm going to give you the real names of these very famous spin masters. You have to figure out who they are. So anyway, round 2, question number 1. Norman Cook. So round 2, question number 1. I think it's an easy one to start off with. So Norman Cook, is the real name of which famous DJ? Alright, so it's round 2, question number 1. Who is Norman Cook? Round 2, question 2. We're moving on to Richard David James, or Richard D. James, sometimes known as. But who am I talking about when I'm talking about Richard David James? Round 2, question 2. Saw him twice now, actually, I have to say. One of the last big raves I was at, actually, the Printworks. Really missed those. Richard David James, round 2, question 2. Round 2, question number 3. And I'm looking for the name of Adam Richard Wiles. Willis. Wiles, I think? Adam Richard Wiles. Not a big DJ name, so I can see why they changed it. But who is Adam Richard Wiles? What's he more commonly known as on the 1s and 2s? So it's round 2, question number 3. Moving on, round 2, question 4. Richard Melville Hall. Okay, there's a little bit of a clue in here. This particular DJ was actually related to Herman Melville, that wrote a particularly famous American novel. He's an ancestor of this DJ, Herman Melville. So Richard Melville Hall. So who would that be? Clue is in the name there. Round 2, question 4. Round 2, question 5. Sonny John Moore. This particular DJ name, I think, was his AOL or his MySpace name. It's the one he had. The one that he wanted wasn't there, so he had to go for another one. So Sonny John Moore. Which electronica artist / DJ is this? I'll give you a clue. He is best known for dubstep. And finally, round 2, question 6. Your final DJ name tonight, Clifford Joseph Price. So CJP, who is that? Which DJ is Clifford Joseph Price? There's your roundup there. So Norman Cook, Richard D. James, Adam Richard Wells, Richard Melville Hall, Sonny John Moore, and Clifford Joseph Price. Give me those actual DJ names there. That's round 2. Music round done for this week. All go by their middle names there. But anyway, so that's 2 down, 6 more to go. Don't forget the amazing prize of the iPhone 12 on HarboursideCompetitions.com. Do check that out. Entries are £5. You can get your hand on a brand new iPhone. What's not there to love? Also check out a Harbourside Competitions Facebook page for more details on how to get your hands on a fantastic new Stratocaster guitar. Stratocaster makes Crash Strat, as it's known as, and £500 cash from our competitions page, not to be missed. Anyway, let's move on to the next round this evening, round 3, and it's all about geography and nicknames. Yes, I'm going to give you the names of various states, provinces, and counties, and their nicknames. So you have to match. You have to figure out which state or province or county that I'm talking about. Okay, so here we go. Round 3, question number 1. If I was in America and I was referring to the Garden State, which state am I talking about in the USA? Yes, it was a booby. Zach Braff and Natalie Portman. The Garden State, but the Garden State, which American state, round 3, question number 1, is known as the Garden State? Let's move on. Round 3, question number 2. Sticking with gardens, the Garden of Ireland. So which county of Ireland is known as the Garden of Ireland? It's very pretty. Lots of lovely lakes and mountains. But which kind am I talking about when I'm talking about the Garden of Ireland? Sticking with gardens again, the Garden of England. Which English county bears that moniker? So round 3, question 3. Which county is known as the Garden of England? Okay, moving on to the next one, and I think this is our first non-garden one. So moving on, the Empire State. So which state is known as the Empire State? I think that's a fairly obvious one. I think if you don't get that one, I'll be very disappointed. But which US state is known as the Garden State? Oh, sorry, the Empire State. That's the state capitol building. In Albany, that could be a clue. You should get that. You should all get it anyway. Round 3, question 5. Back to Ireland again, and the Wee County. Which county is known as the Wee County? It's round 3, question 5. Very famous bridge there. The Macaleese Bridge. Which county is that bridge in? Which county has that? The same one as the Wee County. Which county in Ireland is known as the Wee County? And finally back to America and the Big Sky State. Known because apparently it's got a big sky. Round 3, question 6. The Big Sky State. It's a picture of it there. That's round 3, question 6. And there's your roundup there of questions all about state, county, and province nicknames. Match the nicknames to the states. So we got the Garden State, the Garden County of Ireland, the Garden County of England, the Empire State, the Wee County, and the Big Sky State. Match those nicknames to the right places, and you'll get points. Give me a couple of seconds there to digest those. Alright, let's move on to the next round. So that's geography all done. We did do a movie one this week, actually. Yeah, no, so we kind of skipped over that. So we did a geography one this week. However, we are going to stick round 4. Like I said, it's developing a pattern. Round 4 is a history and politics one, and we're doing political quotes. I'm going to give you 6 very famous quotes from very famous political figures throughout history. You have to match those quotes with whoever said it, okay? And I promise I won't do impersonations if it can be helped. All right, no promises though. But anyway, round 4, question number 1. The one thing we have to fear, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Which famous political figure said those words? So round 4, question number 1. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Round 4, question 1. Round 4, question 2. The lady's not for turning. Which very, very famous historical figure said that? If you've been watching The Crown lately, that could give you a clue. I know I have. I've loved season 4. Absolutely. Knew that was going to be the good one. Stellar performances throughout. Round 4, question 2. The lady's not returning. Who said that? Round 4, question 3. Being born in a stable does not make a man a horse. So round 4, question 3. Interesting quote. Although often attributed to this figure, it's questionable whether he actually said it or not. However, for the purposes of this quiz tonight, we're assuming he did. Or they did. So you'll get points if you guess it correctly. Round 4, question 3. Being born in a stable does not make a man a horse. Moving on, round 4, question 4. Et tu, Brute? So round 4, question 4. Et tu, Brute? Or Et tu, Brutus? Round 4, question 4. Which figure reportedly said this? Again, probably drawing more from fiction this one. But round 4, question 4. Et tu, Brute? Round 4, question 5. Part of their famous manifesto. Education, education, education. Which political figure was famed for saying those 3 words? Part of their manifesto. So round 4, question 5. Education, education, education. It's round 4, question 5. And your final political quote for tonight, round 4, question 6. Grotesque, unbelievable, bizarre, and unprecedented. Which is actually more commonly known as Gubu. G-U-B-U. That's actually not the quote, but I will give you the actual full quote. It was a bizarre happening in an unprecedented situation, a grotesque situation, an almost unbelievable mischance. So that's the actual full quote, but it's actually being phrased, very famous political phrases being paraphrased in a way to grotesque, unbelievable, bizarre, and unprecedented. So who said it though? The phrase "gubu." So there's your roundup of political quotes there. Round 4, question 1. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Question 2. The lady's not returning. Question 3. Being born in a stable does not make a man a horse. 4. Et tu, Brute? 5. Education, education, education. And 6. Grotesque, unbelievable, bizarre, and unprecedented. Those are your 6 political quotes. Match them to the historical figure that said them, and you'll get the points for this round. Alright, we're speeding through tonight's quiz. 25 minutes past 8 here this evening on the 29th of the 11th, 2020. Our very last quiz of November. And apologies, I couldn't do a live quiz last week. I was hired to do a private quiz for a gentleman over in England And yes, thank you very much for the hiring there, and happy birthday again. But like, if you want to hire Big Nerd Pub Quiz for your socially distanced events over the next couple of weeks, by all means, get in touch with me at bignerdpubquiz@gmail.com. Can fully customize the quiz to whatever you want, any style, any type, any specific type of questions. You can even write me the questions and I'll present them. But yes, affordable, easy to play, easy to set up, play over Zoom. And like I said, it's the very, very perfect activity for the socially distanced era that we're living in right now. So, 4 down, 4 more to go this evening. And round 5, as we know, is all about sports. I know you're not a big fan of sports, but this is a different one. Inspired by the Netflix TV show We Are the Champions, which explores some bizarre sports. I'm doing all the questions tonight about really, really weird sports. Alright? So, round 5, question number 1. You'll get the idea as soon as we go along. And it's the first episode of this show, of this series on Netflix. But which food item is rolled down Cooper Hill in Gloucestershire? It's a part of a race. It's just over 100 meters, and it's apparently one of the most dangerous foot races in the world. So, which food item am I talking about? It's rolled down a Cooper Hill in Gloucestershire. That's round 5, question 1. Which food item is rolled down Cooper Hill each year? Round 5, question 2. Now, again, apologies if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Maid sling and sheaf toss are 2 standard events which make up which sporting events? Okay, so apologies if I'm pronouncing these wrong, but maid leasing and sheaf toss are 2 standard events which make up which greater sporting event? That's round 5, question 2. Round 5, question 3. An interesting one here. 1976, in Llanwryd in Wales, played host to which peculiar swimming event for the very first time? So 1976, I know double L in Welsh is Llanelli and Llandudno, but Llanwryd in Wales, or Llanwryd Wells in Wales, played host to the very first of which peculiar swimming event? That's round 5, question number 3. Round 5, question number 4. Organised commercial bungee jumping began in which country? It was actually invented by 2 Oxford University students, I believe, in the 1970s. However, it became an organised commercial bungee jumping. Began in which country? Now, interestingly, the bungee cord itself, or what's used to tie up large commercial packages on airplanes, on freight airplanes, and someone had the genius idea of tying them to their ankles and throwing themselves off a bridge. Would have been a lot of physics involved trying to work that one out before you did it. But organised commercial bungee jumping began in which country? So which country would you associate bungee jumping with? Round 5, question 5. Joey Chestnut is the current world champion of which speed eating contest? The 875 items of this particular item. So that's round 5, question 5. Joey Chestnut is the current world champion at which speed eating contest? 875 items of this particular item. I've actually tried this. Couldn't get past 2. 75. It's a long mountain to beat. But Joey Chestnut, current world champion, eating which particular item? Round 5, question 6, final one, and the Oulu Video Festival, which I believe is in Finland, annually plays host to which weird performance sport? Okay? So, round 5, question 6. The Oulu Musical Festival, or Music Video Festival, annually plays host to which very peculiar performance art? Alright? Round 5 down, and there is your roundup of weird sports questions. So, which food item is rolled on Cooper Hill in Gloucestershire every year? 2. Mind Sling and Sheep Toss are 2 standard events which make up which sporting games? Number 3. In 1976, Clanturret, Wales played host to which peculiar swimming event for the first time? Organised commercial bungee jumping began in which country is number 4. Joey Chestnut is the current world champion of which speed eating contest? Number 5. And the Oulu Music Video Festival annually plays host to which weird performance sport? If it can be considered a sport, I guess. Anyway, that's your sports round done tonight. Don't forget, if you want to tune into some fantastic new radio shows, then check out Harbourside Radio on Harbourside.com. Big Nerd Pub Quiz is here on the socials every Sunday night at 8. And you can get in touch with me if you want to shout at any point. Get in touch via my socials there. Big Nerd Pub Quiz on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And listen to all these fantastic shows. We got the blues. We got funk. We got country. We got electronica. We got indie. We got rock. We got musicals. We got loads of great chat, loads of great banter, loads of great prizes. HarboursideRadio.com. That's just a small selection of the stuff that you can tune into. Check out our fantastic website. Listen again to the shows on SoundCloud.com/Harbourside Radio. And don't forget, Harbourside competitions. Win this fantastic iPhone 12. The competition ends tomorrow. Get your tickets. It's only £5 per entry. All you have to do is answer a very simple quiz question, and that iPhone 12 could be yours. Great little Christmas present in the run-up there. If you would snap that up, we're doing a draw tomorrow, 7 o'clock on Harbourside Radio. Don't miss it. Alright, so 5 down, and we've still got 6, 7, and 8 to go. Here's your next round, and it's all about famous ships. So 6 questions, all about famous ships. And you know me, I'm a bit of a Titanic enthusiast, but yes, here's your first question, all about the Titanic. But what was the name of the Titanic's older sister that actually remained in service from 1911 through to World War I and into the 1930s? Actually famously rammed a submarine during World War I whilst it was a troop carrier. Suffered a couple of damages itself, but actually managed to stay afloat. But yes, what was the name of Titanic's tougher, older sister that remained in service from 1911 through to World War I and into the 1930s? That's your first question. All about famous ships. Like I said, built at Harland and Wolff in Belfast as well. That's round 6, question 1. Round 6, question 2. Name the Royal Navy Town Class light cruiser that is now a museum ship on the River Thames in London. Yes, if you go to London Bridge, I think that's the closest tube station to it. You can see Tower Bridge behind it. Famously mixed up by a lot of tourists. The bridge behind it is not London Bridge, it's Tower Bridge. But the closest tube station to it is London Bridge Station itself. Pop over, it's a good museum, really, really cool. But what is it called? What is the ship? Interestingly, the guns are pointed. They actually calculated if they were to reactivate the guns on the ship and fire it off, where would they land? And apparently, it's a service station just north of London. That's where they would blow up if you were to launch the guns currently pointed facing west on the Thames. Ashford Services, I think it is. But name that ship. Round 6, question 2. Round 6, question 3. What was the name of the Royal Navy research ship captained by James Cook in his exploration of Australia and New Zealand? It's round 6, question 3. Interestingly, the oldest house in Australia, which Captain Cook reportedly discovered, well, he didn't actually discover it, but James Cook's house was actually the oldest house in Australia. Not because he built it there, no. They actually just removed it, brick by brick, and moved it to Australia. Much like London Bridge. The original London Bridge is actually in Arizona. It's rebuilt in the 60s. But yes, round 6, question 3. What was the name of the Royal Navy research ship that captained by James Cook in his exploration of Australia and New Zealand? Round 6, question 4. In Greek mythology, which hero sailed upon the Argo in search of the Golden Fleece? I was going to ask you what the name of the ship was, but then I thought, I can't be giving it away, actually. But round 6, question 4. In Greek mythology, which hero sailed upon the Argo in search of the Golden Fleece? One of my favourite stories as a kid. I loved it. Great movie with Ray Harryhausen special effects. But which movie am I talking about? Which Greek hero am I talking about there? Round 6, question 4. Round 6, question 5. Launched in 1843, who designed the largest steam passenger ship of its day, the SS Great Britain? And this particular chap was a pretty talented guy. He did a lot of different, a lot of other stuff as well. Not just ships. He designed bridges and trains, and pretty talented man. So round 6, question 5. And currently it's a museum ship as well, if you go to Bristol. But yes, launched on this day in 1843, who designed the largest steam passenger ship of its day, the SS Great Britain? And finally, what was the name of Charles Darwin's vessel that took him to the Galapagos Islands in the 1830s? So yes, Charles Darwin's adventures and nature research trips led him to his findings on the theory of evolution. What was the name of his ship that took him on his famous expeditions in the 1830s to the Galapagos Islands and beyond? That's round 6, question 6. And there's your roundup there of questions all about famous ships. Go through them one more time. So I'm looking for the name of Titanic's older sister. Round 6, question 1. Round 6, question 2. The museum ship, that's the Royal Navy Town Class Light Cruiser. That's on the River Thames in London. Round 6, question 3. The name of the research ship captained by James Cook in exploring Australia and New Zealand. 4, the Greek mythology, who is the hero that sailed upon the Argo in search of the Golden Fleece? 5, I'm looking for the name of the designer of the SS Great Britain. And finally, what was the name of Charles Darwin's vessel that took him to the Galapagos Islands in the 1830s? 6 questions all about ships. See how you do. Alright, I've got 2 more rounds left, and we're moving on, and it's a literature round of sorts. It's all about, like I said, it is Big Nerd Pub Quiz. I like to do these things all about nerdy things. So yes, early science fiction. So it's sort of like a mixture of movies and literature here. 6 questions all about early science fiction. Here we go, round 7, question number 1. So the 3 laws of robotics were established by which American science fiction author in the short story Runaround? Now, what are the 3 laws of robotics? So they were set up by this particular author, introduced in the Runaround in the story and the 1950s collection I, Robot. But first law is a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come into harm. Second law is a robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And second, the robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. It's kind of like the OCP laws in RoboCop. but I'm looking for the writer who came up with those famous 3 laws, the laws of robotics. So it's round 7, question number 1. The laws of robotics were established by which American science fiction author in the short story The Runaround? Round 7, question 2. Which famous actor broadcast a realistic version of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds in 1938 as part of a radio play? At the time, the actual broadcasts freaked a lot of people out because they thought the actual aliens were invading. I'm thinking about actually have to lead to disclaimers in future. It's like, this is a spoof, this isn't real. Now, whether it caused widespread panic is debatable or not, but I think for its time it was quite believable. But which famous actor broadcast a realistic version of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds in 1938 as part of a radio play? That's round 7, question 2. Round 7, question 3. Alex Raymond created which comic book serial that was later adapted for the screen in 1980, starring Sam Jones and Max van Sydow? So yes, these particular serials actually started off as comic book. They actually became like a Saturday morning film serial that kids used to go to see. George Lucas being one, and drew a lot of inspiration for Star Wars. But yes, Alex Raymond created which comic book serial that was later adapted for the screen in 1980, starring Sam Jones and Max von Sydow. Fantastic movie as well. Round 7, question 4. Which Jules Verne novel was the inspiration for one of the first ever science fiction films released in 1902 and directed by George Méliès? But yes, round 7, question 4. Which Jules Verne novel was the inspiration for one of the first ever science fiction films released in 1902? The video itself, the film itself was the inspiration for the Tonight Tonight Smashing Pumpkins video. Have you ever seen that? And you watch it on YouTube. Actually, it's a very, very short movie, but it's kind of cool for its time. But which Jules Verne's novel was the inspiration for one of the first ever science fiction films released in 1902? Sticking with film, who directed the 1927 German science fiction masterpiece Metropolis? Metropolis being one of the most influential science fiction movies of all time. But who directed the 1927 German science fiction film Metropolis? Round 7, final one. Which Scottish-born author wrote the sci-fi novel The Lost World, in which a group of explorers come across prehistoric beings? That's round 7, question 6. So which Scottish-born author wrote the sci-fi novel The Lost World, in which a group of explorers come across prehistoric animals? It's round 7, question 6. And there's your roundup of early science fiction questions. Just go through them one more time before we move on to the final round. So the 3 laws of robotics were established by which American science fiction author in the short story Runaround? Number 2, which famous author broadcast a realistic version of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds in 1938 as part of a radio play? 3, Alex Raymond created which comic book serial that was later adapted for the screen in 1980, starring Sam Jones and Max van Sydow? 4, which Jules Verne novel was the inspiration for one of the first ever science fiction films released in 1902? 5, who directed the 1927 German science fiction film masterpiece Metropolis? And finally, number 6, which is Scottish-born author wrote the science fiction novel The Lost World, in which a group of explorers come across prehistoric animals? And there's your final science fiction questions there this week. Alright, so yes, looking forward the calendar, next week is going to be starting Christmas. So at some point I'm going to organise a massive Christmas quiz, and then I'm going to go on a wee break for a while. Might pre-record a couple of quizzes, put them out for you guys to keep yourselves entertained during the lockdown festive period, and not to get you all down, but keep the spirits up during these dark nights. But anyway, here we go. Final round of the Big Nerd Pub Quiz this evening. And it's all about female firsts. So yes, the next group of questions are all about very pioneering female from across history. And yes, all questions all about pioneers, these women pioneers in sports, in avionics, in all sorts of things. But let's see how well you do with this. So round 8, question number 1. So who was the first woman in space? Very simple one to start off with. So who was the first woman in space? And you can see there, she's Russian cosmonaut. 1963 was the year. I have to say, beating America by 20 years, pretty much. Soviets. But who was the first woman in space? That's round 8, question 1. Round 8, question 2. So Gertrude, I had to pronounce the name right. So Gertrude Ederle was the first woman to achieve which sporting feat in 1926. She was the first woman to do what in 1926? Gertrude Ederle, or Ederle. She was the first woman to achieve which sporting feat all the way back in 1926. Round 8, question 3. Who in 1987 was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is actually, I believe it's in Cleveland, Ohio. And it's a really cool museum filled with artifacts and exhibits about music. But who in 1987 was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Round 8, question 4. Who was the first African American to win an Academy Award for Best Actress? So the first African American woman to win that award for Best Actress. Okay? Not Best Supporting Actress, I'm talking Best Actress. Straight up. Round 8, question 4. Who was the first African American to win an Academy Award for Best Actress? This round 8, question 4. Coming on to our penultimate question here tonight. Round 8, question 5. Elinor Ostrom was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize in which field in 2009? There's been many female recipients of Nobel Prizes, but Elinor Ostrom was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize in which field in 2009? So yes, here comes your final question. Don't forget, once you get your final question, press submit. You'll get your scores, but do stick about for the answers. Here it comes. Final question for tonight. And who is the first female president of a country to directly succeed another female president of that same country? Okay, so back-to-back female presidents. Who was the first woman to precede another female president of another country? All right, so that's your 6th and final question of female firsts for this round, and last question of this evening. There was a little bit of a clue about who that would be, or might be. I did mention the name earlier in the quiz, show you how hard you've been listening. But there's your roundup there of questions all about female firsts. So who was the first woman in space? Gertrude Ederle was the first woman to achieve which sporting feat in 1926? Who was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987? Who was the first African American to win an Academy Award for Best Actress? Elinor Ostrom was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize in which field in 2009? And finally, who was the first female president of a country to directly precede another female president of that country? That is the final question of the evening. Hit submit and let me know how you've done. Use the hashtag BigNerdPubQuiz and tag me and tag any photographs of you playing around the world. Let me know where you are and how you got on and all the different social media channels out there on your screen. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe on YouTube. And don't forget of those fantastic competitions, Harbourside competitions, to win a brand new iPhone. It's all happening this week. So yes, don't forget to check those out. Anyway, how did you get on? Let's see the answers for tonight's quiz on the 29th, the last quiz of November 2020. And here are the answers. So the general knowledge ones. Oh yes, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Star Wars Mandalorian. So the Baby Yoda is actually called Grogu. It's round one, question one. David Prowse was famous in the 1970s for being the Green Cross Code Man. Diego Maradona played for Napoli. Coronation Street celebrating 60 years this month. Peter won the Great British Bake Off 2020, becoming the youngest ever winner. And the Changi 5 mission is the first sample return mission to bring back a chunk of the moon since the 1970s. Okay, your DJ names there. So Norman Cook was Fatboy Slim. Richard D. James is Aphex Twin. Adam Richard Wills is Calvin Harris. Richard Melville Hall is Moby. Sonny John Moore is Skrillex. And Clifford Joseph Price is Goldie. Round 3, your geography nicknames. So the Garden State is New Jersey. The Garden of Ireland is Wicklow. The Garden of England is Kent. The Empire State is, of course, New York. The wee county is Louth, just across the water from us here in County Down. And the Big Sky State is Montana. Tricky one, that. But I just always remember that. I remember hearing that once and remember thinking, must have some pretty big sky out there in Montana to get that nickname. Your round 4 answers. So the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. It's Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR. The ladies not for doing. Margaret Thatcher at the Conservative Conference. The Iron Lady. And from the Iron Lady to the Iron Duke, being born in a stable does not make a man a horse. The Duke of Wellington. Et tu, Brute. Julius Caesar is number 4. Education, education, education. Tony Blair. And grotesque, unbelievable, bizarre and unprecedented, or Gubu, Charles Haughey, former Taoiseach of Ireland. Your round 5 answers. So cheese is the big thing that's lobbed down the hill in Gloucestershire. It's round 5, number 1. Mide Slang and Sheaf Toss are 2 standard events that make up the sporting events of the Highland Games. I could have had sword dancing and caber toss in there, but I thought those would have been a wee bit too... Or hammer throw as well. I thought those were too obvious, but yes, the Highland Games there. 1976, the Landward Wells in Wales played host to bog snorkeling. Commercialised bungee jumping took off in New Zealand. Joey Chestnut is the current world champion at eating hot dogs, and the Olu Music Video Festival hosts the Air Guitar Championships. Round 6. The famous ships. The Titanic's older sister is the Olympic. HMS Belfast is the ship that's in the museum ship on the Thames in London. HMS Endeavour, James Cook's ship exploring New Zealand and Australia. Jason and the Argonauts, thought that would be an easy one there. Sail on the Argo. Jason and the Argonauts, get it. Isambard Kingdom of Brunel, the famous designer and ship engineer and all-round amazing Victorian. Isambard Kingdom Brunel designed the SS Great Britain, and the HMS Beagle was the name of the ship that took Charles Darwin to the Galapagos Islands. Your early science fiction literature questions. So Isaac Asimov wrote The Three Laws of Robotics. Orson Welles spoofed the nation when he did his War of the Worlds broadcast in 1938. Flash Gordon, created by Alex Raymond. From the Earth to the Moon was the book adapted into a movie in 1902 by Jules Verne. Or adapted into a movie? Adapted. Can't speak tonight. Metropolis was directed by Fritz Lang in 1927, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the man who wrote the Sherlock Holmes books, wrote the sci-fi novel The Lost World. And finally, your female firsts. Valentina Tereshkova was the first lady to go into space. Gertrude Erdőr was the first lady to swim the Channel in 1926. Aretha Franklin was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thought that was a tricky one, that one. Halle Berry was the first woman to win an Academy Award for Best Actress. Eleanor Ostrom was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2009. And Mary McAleese, yes, I mentioned it because I mentioned the McAleese Bridge in County Louth. She was the first female president of a country to directly precede another female president of that same country. And that's the final roundup there tonight. Thank you very much for playing Big Nerd Pub Quiz tonight on Harbourside Radio and on YouTube. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Don't forget to stay in touch with me, all different social media channels. Don't forget to like, subscribe to all of them, all the Harbourside ones as well, and all the Big Nerd Pub Quiz ones too. I'll be back again next week. I'll see you all again soon. Stay safe, and don't forget, tune in to Harbourside Radio for some fantastic shows. And I'll see you all again next Sunday, first one of December. That's the 6th of December. So don't forget to tune in to that. I'll see you all again soon. Take care and have a great night.